Greetings everyone, hopefully you can hear me over the background noise. Haven't had my medication yet, so my hands will be a little bit shaky, but I thought I'd just do a quick bit of a hobby update while I'm here at the desk. The dog just arrived. So after finishing my Japanese army, oh gosh, you can see what my desk is currently like. Still got my light. Still got cowboys riding dinosaurs in the back, which I could just paint, but I wanted to make saddles for. They'll take part in the Rin Rebellion that I was playing out, part of Deathzap, which I haven't touched for a while. You can see some Grima robots from alternative armies, which I haven't posted much on yet. Ooh, can't see them at all. So they'll be part of a future post. I've ordered some more stuff from alternative armies to go up against them. So I'll show those off once they come in. Still got some leftover Japanese bits there in the middle. But mainly what I was up to today, if I find a decently crappy brush, was working on these army men that I've decided to paint up in a toy soldier style. So very glossy, just base coats and gloss. And I've done this before, but I've sort of realised how, I suppose, difficult in a way this miniature painting style can be, because once you put that gloss coat on, if there's anywhere that you missed or your base coat wasn't quite spot on, it really shows up. So these guys are for a different kind of Deathzap. Initially I saw this bag. It's one of the ones that's made by Candy Toys, who do a lot of like cheap crappy army men that you see in discount shops, and I saw on the Man of Tin blog him showing it off. Check out Man of Tin blog, it's a big inspiration of mine. And so I saw these army men being shown off, and just like the butterfly for a bag of crappy army men, I had to get it straight away, even though with my current scale in Deathzap, where I'm using the bigger army men, it's actually not that useful of a bag because they're all quite a bit smaller than a lot of the army men I've painted up for that. But also there's not a great deal of kind of heavy or special weapons in the bag, so I was sort of stuck. I had a bunch of, they're all like Matchbox Airfix copies. I'm putting glue on the sand on the bases to lock it in a minute. Yeah, there are a lot of Airfix Matchbox copy figures, and so what I'm doing with them, because again they're too small to fit in my current Deathzap setting, I'm looking to sort of plug some gaps, or develop the history of the Deathzap setting. So my own Deathzap setting, the idea was, and this is heavily influenced by the Jono's World posts you might have seen on Archduke Piccolo's blog, from quite a while back. I don't think he's revisited it recently, but I haven't checked his blog in a while. The idea of Jono's world was that it was a planet that was colonized by humans, and as you can imagine, colonizing an entire planet takes a bit of a strain on whatever resources you take with you, and technology gets lost, people spread out, diseases happen, disasters, and basically the idea is that whatever civilizations develop there need to kind of rebuild again. So you can imagine an initial era of pretty decent technology, but as stuff falls into disrepair, as there's not the kind of manufacturing base or the resource, like mining, all of that sort of stuff isn't in place from the get-go, inevitably what happens is people fall back into like a dark age. And so that's kind of how Deathzap started. I had this idea for humanity colonizing a different solar system after a bunch of disasters happened on, I should say solar system, I've called it the Zola system, which is a name that I gave it a long time ago and I've sort of stuck with. Obviously solar system, that's Sol, isn't it? That's our star, so another solar system doesn't really make sense. But basically they've colonized this new star system, shall we say, and there's a few planets. I've posted about this on the blog before, so you can go and check if you do a search for Deathzap fluff on my own blog. There's sort of there was three main players. I'll keep it simple for now. There was three main planets, let's say, not players, because there's more than that, but three main planets. Jendar, which is sort of an Earth-like planet, Ashnir, which is really kind of harsh and unforgiving, and Knossos. So on Ashnir, because we won't talk about Ashnir that much today, it was settled by this sort of war band. They were very militaristic, quite aggressive, sort of violent by nature, shall we say. Their civilizations were. They did a lot of gladiatorial combat and that sort of thing. That's now settled by two factions, the Legion of Carthion and the League of Xandor. Knossos, which was a completely artificial planet the colonists discovered, was settled by kind of all the best and brightest, shall we say. Like your top scientists, they all went there with the hopes of sort of unraveling, figuring out what that planet was about, who put it there, who made it, and they go about reverse engineering all the technology they find, so they get a massive boost. They're not violent, they don't have any wars, in fact, at least none I've written about yet, and that's the Allegiance of Knossos, or Knossos. But sort of the main planet in the setting, the Earth-like one, is called Jendar, named after the leader of the original colonists. And there's a lot of backstory to this. I won't do the whole thing because we'll be here forever. But basically it ends up being settled, sort of two major factions develop on Jendar. House Baranor, which are kind of your noble royalist sort of faction. They maintain kind of royal lineages, all of that sort of stuff, and still do, even 2,000 years later, where I'm at currently with the history and the setting. And the Jendari Collective, which is more of a democratic kind of what you'd expect from human governments sort of developing. And what happens is around the 1500s, I believe, doing this off the top of my head, I have written it down somewhere, the allegiance of Knossos travels to the planet Gendar, because they've now got a lot of advanced technology. They can do cloning, they can do energy weapons, all of this sort of stuff. And at this point, Gendar is sort of in an early 20th century Earth-like setting. You imagine like World War One, a bit of World War Two, that sort of thing, which matches nicely with the figures that I got in this bag of army men. So they're all ballistic weaponry, tanks. We're starting to see aircraft, that sort of stuff. But what happens is when the Knossos arrive, they expect this big technological boon is basically just going to revolutionize the people of the planet Gendar. But instead, inevitably, as you imagine, it just turns into a war almost immediately. The Gendari Collective and House Baranor sort of see the upper hand this technology gives them over the other, and they start a global war, which is called the First Global War in the setting. I'll just have a quick drink. And I've talked about that on the blog a little bit before as well. But prior to the First Global War, another war takes place, a smaller war, within House Baranor, which is called the Great Western War, because House Baranor occupies the west of the planet, basically. And this is kind of, as you can imagine, because House Baranor is based on royal lineages, birthright, monarchy, all of this sort of stuff. Once cloning, artificial life, all of this sort of stuff starts showing up, because the Knossos bring it with them, it basically causes a massive collapse. Like, people stop having confidence in the ruling class, shall we say, because if suspicion falls on someone that their birthright isn't true, of course all the barons and lesser lords are going to start, or even if it's just complete rumour and fabrication, an enterprising baron or sort of lower member on the royal rung can still point the finger and try and climb the ladder for their own advantage. I'm glossing these guys with Umbro's gloss coat, which I've never used before. So that's where we're at in the Great Western War, which is what I'm painting these guys up for. The reason I went for that conflict rather than doing First Global War, again, is because the figures are a certain scale. I don't have other figures of this scale that have heavy weapons, special weapons. But in this bag, there's a lot of guys that have a flamethrower, as you can see. And what I imagined this was is an early energy weapon. So he's got his big backpack on and his gun. Just an early energy weapon. So they got rid of their machine guns, they got rid of their anti-tank weapons, like bazooka-like weapons, and basically had each squad have a guy with an energy weapon instead. The rest of them are equipped with your run-of-the-mill bolt-action rifles, submachine guns, that sort of thing. So that made sense of the bag that I had. And so what I'm painting here, so I can get a little bit of a war going, is among House Baranor, there are a few main nations again. Haldane is kind of the seat of House Baranor. It's where the ruling monarch of House Baranor sits. And at this point in time, it was Prince Percy was about to take the throne to become King Percy of House Baranor. But once his birthright fell into disrepute, the other nations started perking up, considering what they could gain. So these guys are from Volkovia. And I just sort of improvised the scheme, really. So they've largely got navy blue, but some of them have a slightly lighter blue, because I wanted to create sort of differences among. You can see his trousers are slightly darker. Yeah, so these guys are from Volkovia, and I did a officer with some tan trousers instead. And I think the other guys I'm doing still need their big lorry went past. The other guys I'm doing, I think, are going to be from a nation called Drask. They border each other, and so there's going to be a bit of fighting going on there. There's also Harkovia, there's another big player, Redina, Keardonia. So I might do a little warband of each and have them fight each other. I have quite enjoyed painting them in this Toy Soldier style. I think the Toy Soldier style is quite an underrated style of painting. Like I said before, it can be quite a challenge to get looking good, just because you really need to do your base coats well before you put the gloss on, or it's just not going to look right. I spent quite a long time wondering about faces, because you think classic toy soldiers, you think like a black dot for the eyes, something like a red or pink line for the mouth, and then they have like rosy cheeks. I stayed away from that, but so the faces had something on them. I sort of did standard eyes with a black and white dot, and then every single guy has a moustache, which must have been the fashion at the time during the Great Western War. Just putting a bit of gloss around the edges of the Volkovians' bases. So that's sort of my little hobby update. All the cars go past. That's my little hobby update. I think rules-wise, I would really like to bust out my old simple toy soldier game for these guys, just so I can do very quick battles that still have a decent amount of strategy to them. So I actually built these little squads specifically for that. And this is a much older version of the Simple Toy Soldier game, actually, than one I've put on the blog. The basic idea of the Simple Toy Soldier game is it's all about suppression of fire and movement, which is obviously really great for this kind of 20th century sort of warfare. So each squad accrues what I call danger points. You imagine like the classic FPS situation where you get shot at and your screen starts turning red. It's that kind of idea. So the shooting mechanics would be very basic. put them into their squads. So they'll take fire from an enemy. Instead of taking casualties, they'll take danger. And then when they next activate, they'll roll their activation dice, and if it rolls under the amount of danger that's currently on them, then they lose a number of figures equal to the amount they failed by. But basically, as you can see here, we've got 2 infantry fire teams, 2 fire teams in the back. We've got the special energy weapon guy with his mate, and the sort of commander with 2 other guys with him. That's sort of the basic infantry squad that I'm imagining for this war. Obviously, energy weapons kick out a lot more danger than your standard. And I think the commander will give buffs to rolls, activation rolls. But that's the basics of it. These guys are basically painted. The guys from Drask are painted. I just need to put a gloss varnish on them and finish their bases. Other things that I've got to get done. I had a package arrive from Mardav Miniatures. They do resin, a lot of resin vehicles, and some infantry as well, I think. But they do a lot of really useful resin vehicles for the Second World War. So I've got 2 more vehicles for my Italians for bolt action. So I look forward to getting them done and getting them on the table. Need to finish off my Japanese. I've got another Chiha to build for them. Then all my Japanese stuff I think will be done for now. I'll play a few games with them before I buy anything else. I've got a Hungarian army I really need to get on with as well for bolt action. So that's what's coming. I say there's more stuff from Alternative Armies on its way. I'll get that done. I need to get back to my 15mm stuff from Irregular. I've been waiting for their website to come back up after their Christmas break. I haven't actually checked yet this week if it has. So hopefully that'll be back online soon and I'll get some more orders in with them. So yeah, thanks if you made it to the end. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about all this very niche stuff, I suppose, bar bolt action. And I'll see you in the next video.